Hail Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here today talking about the three-body problem, episodes 3 and 4. The episode's entitled Destroyer of Worlds and Our Lord. We open episode 3 in the modern day at CERN in Switzerland. Clarence is investigating another mysterious scientist suicide. This one drowned himself in a tub. There have been 32 such incidents. Notably, Clarence finds a headset at this scientist's residence. He's going to use that to spy on the enemy. I'll also note that we get an episode title reference here. When Clarence gets out of the car at CERN, he takes a moment to observe a statue on the grounds. It's a statue of the Hindu god Shiva, which in the real world is an actual statue gifted to CERN by the Indian government. I'm getting out a little over my skis here, but Shiva is, I believe, known as the god of destruction, the destroyer. And, of course, that evokes the line of Hindu scripture associated with Oppenheimer, Now and Become Death, the destroyer of worlds.
Sure. Title
of the episode. So we get those themes of planetary danger and science. So we end episode 4 with Ye now captured by Thomas Wade. He's questioning her about Mike Evans' ship Judgment Day. Frankly, that's a little on the nose. He could have just called it, I don't know, call it the Fantasy or something like that. Anyway, she ignores his questions and just tells him the aliens, known as the Santi, are coming. There's nothing we can do to stop them. And when they arrive, we'll be grateful. She's still under the misapprehension that they're going to coexist in some way with humanity. We learn earlier in this episode that is not going to happen.
No.
So all that said, Paul.
Yes.
What'd you think of episodes 3 and 4?
Well,
Yeah.
I could give it another 6 out of 10 there.
All right. Fair enough.
I mean, I like the one where my favorite character died. Jack
I know.
died.
We'll talk about that. Yes.
That was. I like that episode
well.
better than the next episode.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I flipped it.
He died. I mean, come on. He can't die twice.
But I mean, okay. Spoiler alert on my thoughts, but I thought the show got much better once he was gone. That's the thing. But, okay. I think he was holding the show back, but okay. I would give it more. I think I'm going to give it a little elevated. I thought once Jack was out of the picture, the plot actually got moving, and we learned some interesting things. I think there's some interesting sci-fi concepts happening that we figured out in episode 4, and so for that reason, I'm going to go with like a 7.5.
Wow, what interesting concept are you talking about?
Well, I like, for instance, I think it's a bold move to have the invasion 400 years away. Like, if this was an improv scene, I would have done an edit here, which would have been like 400 years later. But I think it works for this show because it's not so much about aliens as it is about how humanity is reacting to an impending threat. For instance, maybe metaphorically like climate change, for instance, something like that. But so in other words, it's our reaction to this threat that is not imminent. It's not tomorrow. These people won't even be alive when the threat occurs. But how do they start preparations for this attack? I think that's really cool. I think it's an interesting concept. I also liked the scene, even though I have a couple issues with it, but I like the general idea of when Mike Evans is reading Little Red Riding Hood. So he basically reads fairy tales to this representative of the Santi.
Yes.
That he calls my lord.
Sure.
And so, basically, as he's reading this and explaining it, he realizes, wait, did I just doom humanity by explaining Little Red Riding Hood? And I think that was that was a cool moment there. Anyway, I thought there were some really interesting bits there. I'm on board. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad you're liking it. That whole thing about I'm speaking to foreign intelligence. It's not clear to me if he's talking to some sort of computer sentience, or, I mean, it does make it seem like it's some sort of collective consciousness.
It does, because there's a sense of like when one of us knows, we all know, or something like that.
For me to imagine how anything could have evolved on a planet that has all the problems that they have. I mean, is it something that somehow that large body somehow came across to them after they had already evolved to that point? Or was it there all along? And it's just so hard to
You're saying,
survive.
In other words, with the three body problem.
Yes.
How did they have enough time to actually evolve?
Yeah.
You're saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
at
time.
that point, I mean,
yeah, it's like
a lot of time.
You need some sort of stability, some sort. You can.
I got you.
On our planet, we had meteors and other stuff, and changing weather and stuff happening, but it didn't sound anything like this.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
And
then,
how
point.
many stupid spaceships are they able to do? It's like,
it's a lot of spaceships.
Can you live on a spaceship? Are there any other planets in your system? Any other planets that might be on the way?
Now, that's true. Like, why are you coming all the way to Earth? It suggests that there's just nothing between them and Earth. I mean, I guess you could say that, and, hey, Earth reached out to them, meaning here is a planet that can sustain life. And we now know that it has a single sun. We don't have the three-body problem there. And if it's a life-sustaining planet, we can just go, maybe, there's like some guarantees, I guess, maybe, that you don't have going somewhere else, maybe. Yeah. While I enjoyed the Little Red Riding Hood scene, my bit of an issue with it was they basically think it's like the characters lie. Right. Oh, wait, you mean the Big Bad Wolf lies? But more than that, the Santi consider fiction lying. Right? Because they're like, well, where is this forest? Well, it's not a forest. It's make-believe. We're like, what? It's a lie?
Yeah.
So it's always they're like the Thermians from Galaxy Quest, right? And so like they, those creatures didn't realize that Galaxy Quest was a fictional show,
right?
And they feel very hurt when they discover that's the case.
Yes.
But so the Santi fear species that lie. And then they decide they can't coexist with humans. So it's a big revelation, big moment in the plot. I just find it a little hard to believe that it took till now for them to come to that knowledge. Like, Evans has had that ship since the 80s, we discover.
Right.
He's been reading fairy tales for some time. In fact, episode 3, he's reading them Hansel and Gretel. I mean, in Hansel and Gretel, the witch lies, and so do the kids. Like, there's lying, and plus it's a fairy tale. I feel like this would have come up several decades earlier. It's just weird that it came up now. I get it for the sake of, like, the plot. You're like, oh, this is this plot development, but it was all the things you've been telling this other side. It never occurred to them until now that maybe you're reading them stories where people lie. Anyway, but, hey, they caught on eventually. They're slow to catch on, but when they do, they commit, apparently. So, he has doomed humanity with explaining Little Red Riding Hood. Well, okay, so you're not totally on board with the series yet?
No. It's funny actually because, like, one of the things about me that I don't think I've ever mentioned before.
Oh, okay.
Is that like a lot of people, and I, feel good for them that there's that show out there for them. A lot of people like the X-Files. I did not.
I enjoyed the X-Files, but I'll put a caveat on it. I really enjoyed the one-off episodes a lot more than I enjoyed the overall story.
Yeah. There was one point where I watched one of the one-off episodes, and I was like, ooh, this one with, I think it was Charles Nelson Riley or something.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is fun. Is this what the show is like? And I was told, no.
Yeah.
The show is not like this. This is a one-off. And so I was like, okay, I made the right choice.
Like a Circus Freak one-off episode was pretty cool. Anyway, but yes, okay. Continue,
but it's funny, though, that I liked the show Fringe.
Yep.
And its premises are pretty similar. But I like the characters more.
Okay.
And so...
why you like the characters better in Fringe? because it involved Denethor from Lord of the Rings. Well done, Paul. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, sure.
okay,
There's so many people in that movie. It's hard to watch anything.
No, Fringe is a really cool show.
One,
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
But yeah, I like the characters there, and these characters are not doing very much for me at all.
Okay.
They even after they killed the one that I was happy that they killed. It doesn't make sense to me if they're not going to be around for a while they're just killing all these people.
Yeah, I mean, other than Ye, I don't think we've spent a lot of time with any.
Especially since they established that they're known. They know that people know about them, so they're not surprised at all by Benedict Wong following them and and all this other stuff. They're not surprised by that. And when at the end of this fourth episode there, when Yi is like, oh, we got you now, like, oh, you don't even know about anything that's wrong. It's like, well. So why'd you have to kill people then? It's like, this, and of course, like, oh, we killed this person, but we still expect the friend of the person we killed to still be involved with the thing.
Jin, yeah, right, great point. Yeah, we just killed your buddy, but anyway, here's the meeting.
Hopefully, I'll feel better, or at least like, okay, at least that mystery's out of the way. It's just frustrating now, where it's like, oh, we want you to stop working, but you to keep working. It's like, what's the point of finding people who are smart enough to know what a three-body problem is? It's like...
Apparently there's a lot of people. I'll say this. A lot of people solved the game. I didn't, when they were, called the meeting...
I feel like they said a few people solved it, I feel like.
Oh, okay. I thought the idea was...
They were giving Jack credit for,
level
being
2,
a good buddy.
Level 3, yeah, I will talk about that. And level 3 are in the game, but then level 4 is we all meet in real life. And so I assume that means everybody that was meeting there in real life had solved it. Like, those were all, maybe I'm wrong, but... So, okay, let's talk about Jack real fast. I do feel like the show fixed its major problem. Jack. At the start of episode 3... when Jack and Jin are back in the game, and Jin is solving everything, and Jack is lending his moral support, if I'm being kind.
Yeah.
I was thinking, as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, why is Jack in this show? In the last recap, I asked, is he just a marketing guy who got rich off snacks, or is he like he has a quantum physics background that we just don't know about? Why is this guy part of this small, illustrious group of scientists? I get it. They went to school together, I think is what it was.
Sure, yeah.
But why did the Santi give him a headset? Like, it didn't make sense. So I actually looked up his book character analog, and sure enough, in the books, he's a bit player who shows up briefly in book 3, has nothing to do with the game.
Sure. So
he is a show creation designed, I think, just to lower the nerd quotient of the story. Like, with all these scientists, we need apparently an idiot rich guy that the audience can identify with. Yeah. I identify with rich idiots. Much better. I think it's a bad idea. I think his role is it's just a plot enigma. I'm like, I was losing enthusiasm for the series. I'll say halfway through 3.
Okay.
Man, maybe Paul, because you were like, I hope this guy dies, and I'm like, I do too, but that's not, it's not going to happen. This guy, he's the comic relief. Apparently the guy we should be caring about in the show, and I don't care about him. And then boom, he died, and I'm like, woohoo, better late than never. And I did feel like the story started to take off. Once he was removed, it seemed like the plot could then start to take forward. So all hail the post-Jack era.
I didn't like the whole, I wasn't crazy about the whole, let's make Jin a spy thing, and Dashi and Thomas Wade there. I'm still confused by their organization. It's like at some point, hopefully they'll give their beginnings.
It sounds like Thomas Wade is a rich guy, just like Mike Evans is a rich guy.
Right.
Both had
we need
agendas.
At some point, they should give them when they first became aware of this thing, because.
Yeah. Okay. They're doing flashbacks. They could flashback.
Yeah, they could, but they haven't yet. So I would like to see that, even though I'm sure I won't enjoy it when it happens. Because I just don't have faith in this story.
I'm going to say this,
what?
Paul.
What?
Just don't bring Jack back in some weird sci-fi way. Make him an Uncle Ben. He's gone.
Yeah, sure.
I'll say this on top of everything else.
Yeah.
When he gets home right before he's going to get assassinated.
Right, sure.
He flips open his laptop, and his screensaver shows that he is a Manchester City fan, which is like, he couldn't die fast enough at that point. Boo! Boo!
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah. So that actually, if I hadn't hated him before then, I'm like, all right. He's a Man City fan.
You were like,
you're out.
Put a
you're
knife
out
in his neck, please.
Exactly. So yeah, he's out of the picture. I'll say this. It seemed like he was there again to like, we'll give Jin something to play off of while she's solving these puzzles, I guess. But like, okay, here's an idea, and maybe this would have screwed up the story in some other way. But you've identified this physics teacher who went to school, Will. He's dying of cancer. He's secretly in love with Jin. Why not have him be the player too? He gets a supporter. Maybe that story goes somewhere. Their relationship can evolve in some way.
Yeah,
but,
they offered to heal him, even though,
Yep.
It's just anytime anybody says, "Oh, you're going to feel happy that they're here" or whatever, it really doesn't feel like we're going to be happy that they're here.
No, we're not going to be happy that.
So you so clearly do not have an understanding of what's going on in the show.
I think that Mike Evans moment, the Red Riding Hood moment, is supposed to tell him and the audience, for sure, this is not going to go well when they get here. Like, we can't coexist. They say that out loud. Like, okay, got it. They don't intend to play nice. But we already knew that. I mean, back in
of course
episode 2, they were like, they're going to come and I'm the good guy in all this. I'm the good Santi, but just so you know, they're going to come and conquer you if you keep talking. So it's been known. But so bad times are ahead. But it's 400 years out. You can be like, woohoo! It's not my problem. I guess we should point out the fact that these suicides are not suicides. Except for Vera. Sure. So Ye's
she probably
daughter died.
The person might have been, pushing her
or something? I don't think so.
Or not pushing her, but telling her, go, go, go. Who knows?
I'm just saying she's the only person that at the moment I can't say like, she was murdered.
Yeah.
The others apparently have been murdered by people who can't be seen on sensors or whatever. I should point this out.
Go ahead, point it out.
We got this is only tangentially related to the show, but insane. I mentioned this to you before we started talking here. It's an insane behind the scenes story for this show. Okay, so Chinese billionaire secured the deal with Netflix to produce this show, Three Body Problem.
Yes.
His CEO, I believe, had a falling out with the billionaire producer, had his salary reduced, and the CEO was left out of the Netflix credits. So in revenge, he murdered the billionaire producer by poisoning his tea, and then he also severely injured 2 other people in the process. And I think that all happened in 2020. But last week, the same week, the Three Body Problem got released on Netflix. This CEO was sentenced to death for murdering his producer. So that's about the craziest behind-the-scenes tale you'll ever hear.
Yeah. And, hopefully they've optioned it with Netflix.
Exactly. I think you're going to see with the Netflix series coming. Three Body Problem.
The fourth body problem.
The fourth body. But it's just, it's just really tragic and macabre and bizarre.
It is.
When I first read it, I thought, this is a joke. And I went back and I saw a lot of sources. If it's a joke, there's a lot of people in on it, put it that way. So, wow. Anyway, terrifying.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, I am enjoying where this is going. I feel like these 2 episodes were a slight upgrade on the initial 2 episodes. We're halfway through. It sounds like you're kind of still in stasis. You're like, okay, it hasn't really shown me anything yet. But you could at least acknowledge that the plot has moved forward, yeah?
Oh, sure. People are
there are
dead.
aliens coming. There are people here on Earth that have been recruited to aid prepare Earth for their arrival.
Sure.
And then there's a group that's trying to stop them from doing that. And so, there's conflict.
All that old Lord stuff is so on the nose. It's just like, man.
Well, it feels very cultish,
subtle.
right? We're all on a ship, and we have to just blindly trust in these creatures we can't see and won't see because they won't show up until after we're dead. But they know how to save the Earth.
This feels so clunky to me.
Okay. Right.
Oh Lord. Then she has to you'll get used to saying that. Yeah, sure you will. And man, why don't they give that girl a mustache so she can twirl?
Oh yeah. She did get away, so she was shot.
Yeah.
The woman that can disappear on cameras, but she did survive.
Yeah. Thankfully, not.
In terms of the rules of the show, if you don't get invited to wear the headset, you get kicked out. We saw Augie get kicked out of the game because she wasn't invited. But I was like, well, Jen didn't get invited. She got handed Vera's set. But then it was like, oh, right. She was handed the set by Ye, who is like the leader of the group. So in some ways, I assume that was the invite. Here, take this. Yeah. I'm optimistic that the show is headed in the right direction. And I'm interested to see where this is going. So we're gonna prove to you, Paul, that this show is it's gonna get above meh. That's what I'm predicting it now. I'm making a theory.
Wow,
it's almost like I'm matting this, but I'm saying
really, maybe you'd be better off matting me.
By the by episode 8, by the end of this, so we only have 2 other recaps we're gonna do. But by the end of the show, by the end of the season 1, you are gonna give one of these groups, one of these recaps, a 7 or higher.
Oh, wow.
I'm saying it now. I'm calling it. You're going to get above meh with this show.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, one episode may do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that would count.
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah. I guess I can imagine it.
Okay. All right.
We shall see.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, we will be back talking about episodes 5 and 6. Also, I should point out, on Monday, April 8th, 4 p.m. Central, going to be doing another Fellowship of the Ring live stream. Book 1, Chapter 9, At the Sign of the Prancing Pony. Welcome to Bree, everybody. Boo, 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 boo. So come and join us for that. Those are usually fun live streams, and the community is always awesome when those things are happening. So come on by for that. And otherwise, we'll see everybody back here for episodes 5 and 6. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.